can hear me right. Everything good? Just want to make sure everything okay. Let me know if y'all can hear my mic or anything. Hope everything coming out clear, man. I appreciate everyone for joining. I really do appreciate it. I know I just popped up, but here we are. OCO. Thank you for joining. We're gonna get started here in a second. Make it. I know it wasn't even, I didn't even give an alert, but it's probably gonna have to be like this while I pop up in the lives. I appreciate everyone for coming out. We're gonna talk about that. I see you. You changed the name too. I see you. be seeing it when you hit the replay. Alabama in the house, what's up? I appreciate your donations and definitely the new members, welcome. I appreciate that. Jersey in the house, Virginia in the house, I see you. Kentucky, what up? To watch all of my exclusive content not featured here on my channel, log on to my website at imjustheretomakeyoutthink.com/films. My mic is unmuted. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I know I'm getting used to everything still, but I'm glad everybody showed up. And okay. The mic is clear. Can y'all hear me good out there? No sound? No sound? You sure about that now? Because I did fix it. Okay. There's a delay. Okay. 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 Yeah, I just want to make sure before we begin that all this sound is good. So y'all can, okay, loud and clear. Good. Great sound. Excellent. What up, London? I see you. Mic sounds nice. Good. Excellent. 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 Okay. Now keep in mind, you know, everything is live, so I make a mistake, y'all tell me in the chat, hey, your mic muted, you know, let me know. But I really appreciate everybody for joining. I really do thank you for that. I'm going to continuously say that because I know, I mean, you could have been doing other things, but what I'm here to do, and let me right now start with saying it's a lot of things going on in the world. You know, it's a lot of things that people are being shown on television, shown in movies, or they read in particular books that they choose to read. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm all for it. You know, I mean, of course, you know, however you get your knowledge, however you get your information, I'm fine with that. I'd much rather you seek the truth at all times, at any cost. That's what this is about. So when I present my information here on YouTube and other outlets that I choose to utilize, know that it's definitely for education. So you can understand some sides that you're not used to hearing, okay, that exist. Everything that I present is publicly verifiable. I just don't talk shit. So I back it up. Can you, okay. 1 second, my wife telling me to adjust something really quick, guys. Okay. Is that it right there, baby? And shout out to my wife for holding me down, my beautiful wife. Thank you, baby. I really appreciate that. Let me know if that's enough right there, babe. Thank you for the donations, everyone. I'm seeing them, it's coming in. I'm just trying to get everything set so I could just... I really appreciate that. Keep it up, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, good, good. Okay. Let me go ahead now. So today is going to be different. This was an idea that was floating around. My people in my small circle that I have, they were, you know, requesting for me to do something like this. And then I saw a couple of you guys out there in the comment section also mentioning the same idea. And this is probably, I'm going to be doing this a lot more often on top of other documentaries and other things that I present, like vlogs and podcasts. But of course, this will be a live stream, and this is going to be like an overview of something that I previously put out, and I'm actually going over it with you guys. And if you have questions or something that you know pertaining to this particular thing here that I'm going to present or showcase rather, say it in the comments. Say it in the comments, and I will try my very best to answer the questions that's pertaining to this particular topic. I don't want to, and I know I'm famous for getting off a topic in certain cases, but I'm going to try my hardest to stay on topic. Because, I mean, regardless, it's still going to be correlating information. It's not like I'm just getting rid of the topic altogether. That's not going to happen. But especially with this topic at hand, dealing with what you see in the title, I believe it was I don't have that in front of me, but it's dealing with where the slave ships. Where are they? And that's what we're going to be talking about. So there's a video that I posted on my channel called Why Slave Ships Never Existed. I'm going to be playing this, and I'm going to pause and go over certain things to explain. Like it could be something I said, it could be something I presented. Let's get it in. Let's get it in. So, I mean, without further ado, we might as well get started now. And now, okay, if I have to pause this and replay this, let me know. I just want to make sure that you all can hear this. Hold on, let me get ready. Now, if you can't hear this, let me know. I'm gonna have to turn this up. This is probably my first time doing this, actually. Let me know if you can hear this part.
Society of America, the process of education is based solely on the credence to that which is most popular by public opinion, rather than which would be truthful by way of logical and critical thinking. Compulsory school curriculums in history, for example, derives from fabricated folktales that were authorized by manipulative social engineers of the 19th century. And their opinions alone are somehow credible and are unmolestedly deemed as historical facts without being constructively criticized or even publicly challenged for validation and accuracy.
Louder.
It's as if people now concluded that if something can be believed by the masses, then they should just tag along and follow the crowd and believe it too. But how did...
Hold on.
The process of education is
noun,
based solely on the
noun.
credence to that which is most popular by public opinion, rather than which would be truthful by way of logical and critical thinking. Compulsory school curriculums in history, for example, derives from fabricated folk tales that were authorized by manipulative social engineers of the 19th century, and their opinions alone are somehow credible and are unmolestedly deemed as historical facts, without being constructively criticized or even publicly challenged for validation and accuracy. It's as if people now concluded that if something can be believed by the masses, then they should just tag along and follow the crowd and believe it too. But how did we, as a people, allow our history to be written solely on the basis of a stranger's opinion or by popular belief? Why would these strangers have a right, or even the knowledge for that matter, to tell the stories of our actual history here in America, when the truth is, those strangers were not living here with our indigenous ancestors to bear witness to any account to begin with?
Okay, so before I dive any deeper into this, I mean, and I'm sure those of you who have been subscribed to my channel for quite some time now know I have went over this topic multiple times. So I would like to ask right now, is there anybody out there that has a question about why I said any of that? Because before we go any further, you definitely gonna have, if you gotta, like, okay, for example, like with you guys knowing the story of the slave trade right now as we know it. Hold on, actually, let me move this here. As we know it, okay? I would want to hear from a person's perspective of what question they would draw upon this, because let me wait. I'm gonna play a little more. Let me wait. Some questions might arise after I point certain things out right here in this video.
Now, I want you all to think about the very first time that you have ever heard of the term slavery, and try to recall what you were told about the so-called slave ships amongst these slave stories. Many of you can recall hearing information given to you concerning the slave ships themselves, deriving from third-party sources, and maybe not your school initially. But that's very important to note, because we must now ask, where did these third-party sources retrieve their information about the slave ships in general? These third parties are things like books and movies and even the media that tends to give their cultivated possible descriptions of these so-called slave ships based merely on their perception of what they consider to be a fact, based on information taught by a stranger, or rather by someone else's opinion. For example, fictional movies like 12 Years a Slave and Armistead, then the resurfacing of the story surrounding Clotilda, which was allegedly found and deemed as the last American slave ship, just like the Wanderer, which was also deemed as the last American slave ship. But yet, there are no viable remains of either ship or boat, just a story, in order to keep the idealism of slavery afloat. What all of these third-party sources have in common is that their stories tends to lead to a dead end when researching any publicly verifiable evidence to validate their claims made, along with validating their depictions of what a slave ship actually is. So, what's a depiction? A depiction is an old French word that is defined as a portrayal in picture or a representation in words, a portrait. What is also very important to note here is that by creating a portrait or a portrayal of a depiction,
I forgot, my mic was muted. Okay, I'm back now. I want to stop right here for a quick second and go over. Notice how this says this is a description of a slave ship. Okay, now the image that we're seeing, they're talking about all of these so-called enslaved Africans being packed inside of a ship. Now, does this ship represent the so-called, well, they weren't even ships, they were boats. Number one, 15, 16, 1700s. You didn't get these types of boats until the 1800s. And then, okay, before I go any further on that, just imagine that. How is that even feasible when you're having that many? I mean, no room to breathe, no nothing, no get up and pee, no water to drink to keep them alive. As you know, they're not gonna feed them no food. How is this making sense? And this is a description of a slave ship right here. This is, I'm sure you could type this in Google and this image will pop up. And this is what they're giving you. And, you know, they create all these other museums for all this extraordinary stuff but they don't have a museum with something like this. Come on, man. How many people you think gonna survive like that? That doesn't make sense. And with that many people, you think that many people not gonna be able to? Oh, hold on, I forgot. My camera does do that. I forgot about that. Hold on. Let me fix this. Hold on. One second. What happened?
to watch all of my
Okay. Y'all don't want me to go over this, huh? Nah, you gonna get this today. I don't want to hear that. You ain't stopping me. My camera should be on now. Okay, yeah. So okay. But I'm not bashing anybody's belief or anything like that. I'm not bashing a person. I'm not bashing. Listen, I want you to critically think about this for a second. Like, really think about this. Put this into your mindset. Would you survive this? Would you survive this? If you were, God forbid, captured by some anonymous so-called white people that don't speak your language, but they somehow manage to capture you and your family members. Matter of fact, your whole tribe. Let me back up. I just said some random white folks that don't speak your native tongue, but they're able to capture you and your family members, the whole tribe. When I tell you that white supremacy is an illusion, that's what I'm talking about. You just handing them the power. Just giving it to them. See? And that forces you to not look at the bigger picture. Why would they give you an image like that saying, hey, this is how it went? Just think about that for a second. Why would they hand you an image like this and say, look, this is how it was? This is a description of a slave ship. They didn't even have ships. Keep in mind, during the time period that I'm referring to is the ones that want to say that's associated with the transatlantic slave trade during the 1600s and all the way to the late 1800s. These type of boats ain't become commercial until the mid to late 1800s. That's number one. Number two, how many you think you about to fit on here? On top of your crew and hopefully some type of sources or resources rather, in order for y'all to stay afloat, to travel 40 to 50 days from Africa to South America by cargo ships. This is what this is. This is a cargo ship. This is a cargo ship. You transporting goods and people. Not just saying the people were the goods. You transporting both. So that's even more reason why this image wouldn't make sense. Who built the boat? That would be expensive. In fact, when I said in this video here, and I'm going to go back to this, maybe in this live stream, we'll see how that goes. But I went to Mobile, Alabama myself. I traveled there, boots on the ground. And where they said they so-called discovered the last American slave ship, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. And it's in the same location as a shipwreck graveyard. So you could pick up any broken pieces of wood and say, here's the Clotilda, y'all. And I'm going to show you that too. Watch. By documentation. I'm not playing. So they give you all these figures. Look. And I was just talking about this. They just give you all these figures to see this is how it went. This is the angles. Side by side. Laying on their back. How does that make sense, y'all? How? And then don't get mad at me because I'm telling you to think about this stuff. No, when we came over, these white folks kidnapped us from, and I told you, I asked you before, these white folks captured you from who? Who captured you from who? And you talking about your ancestors and you ain't got nothing else to prove that story to be true, to be associated with your own individual family. You just fall right for it. And then we gonna blame the white man because he wrote it. No, but you fell for it. And you know how? They start you off at a very young age. They start you off in children. Remember, we had this conversation before. They start you off as children. Just like slavery, they started, the slaves were children. You couldn't really manipulate an adult like that until later on. You could definitely manipulate the children and mold them into however you want them to be. Am I lying? Am I making that up? Is that something we gotta go Google? Come on. Think. That's what this is about. That's what I'm about. I'm not about, I'm here with me. I'm not about the, I gotta cause commotion and cause drama just to, for what? For what? Here go the drama, here go the commotion, right here. This it, I'm pointing it out. Here you go. We should have an issue with this. But that's not gonna make a difference. It's not, how is it not gonna make a difference when you sitting up here complaining every single day about what's not going on for our people? But you want to come up with solutions, but yet the solution that you do come up with never work. It fails. So you get mad at a young brother like me that's coming out telling you, look, hey, we need to start from the past to correct those issues that we had in the past, right now, in the present. And then we're going to have a better future. What's wrong with that? Can we try that? Or you want to go cry, baby, cry, and go run to the government and ask for some help. The same government that allegedly put you underground, you going to go run and ask for help from the same people. Their ancestors, their offsprings, rather, their predecessors. Look, I'm not trying to, nah, that's not how it's going to work. I'm not trying to lay down for them. I'm not submitting my pieces on this chessboard. I'm not doing that. You don't like it? Oh, well. Oh, well. Tough luck. I don't care about, and see, people, and some people, little people out there want me to debate them. For what? What is that going to prove? Debate what? You want me to debate this? This what you want me to debate? You want me to waste my time with you? Pay for it. That's not my agenda. My agenda is not here to debate. My agenda is to teach, to make you think again for yourself. Because if everybody was thinking for themselves again all the way 100%, they wouldn't have fell for this crap right here. That's number one. Let me keep it moving.
By creating a portrait or a portrayal of a depiction, it does not have to be accurate. It is just meant to show a generalized likeness or an idea of something by way of imagination that is agreed upon. According to an 18th century painter and the founder of the Society of Arts, Sir Joshua Reynolds stated that, quote, "In portraits, the grace, and we may add, the likeness consists more in the general air than in the exact similitude of every feature." So, what does all of this have to do with the existence of slave ships? Well, that's the point. There were no official slave ships, nor were there any ships created for the intended purpose to carry only slaves. These depictions that were mysteriously given to us about these ships manipulated the mind into believing that there were actual slave ships that existed, when in reality, there is no hard evidence to support this heavily campaigned theory.
Look at that. Look at that. This is sad right here. Right here. Look at that. There's some image you probably could Google. Look at these depictions. They want you to use your imagination. They do. So let's use our imagination. Okay, so that's about roughly 150 people, right? I'm just going to say that. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt that they put 150 people on here, right? Got about 10 cans of beer. And, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Whatever, some water. Let's say this water. Let's just say this water. Right? That's going to be enough? Somebody in the comments make this make sense, please. Please. Somebody in the comments. You got 150 people and 10 cans of beer. That don't sound like slavery to me. They weren't in this position. They were standing up outside drinking. They enjoying themselves on that river. Oh, wait. They told you it was an ocean. My bad. We gonna get into that, though. We gonna get into that. Because, look, I'm telling you right now, every record that I grabbed, including books, they told me they came through the Mississippi River. They came through the Nile. They came through the Mississippi River. They came through the Nile. Listen to what I just said. And they keep telling you that the Nile in Africa. Okay. Who was they? You tell me who was they. You tell who was they, Dane. You tell me who they is. These anonymous writers that created this story that you call his story, because it is his story. Is it yours? You feel so bad you want to be associated with it. Like them people out there that's claiming ADOS right now. I'm going to tell you right now. American descendant of slavery, right? This is the reason why y'all can't stand me. Because I'm debunking your little claim. If you were a slave, I told you that meant that you were an indentured servant. That means you were a contracted employee. Indenture means contract. Serving, you doing a job, laborer. That's the slavery. And it's still happening. Ain't nothing changed but your balls. All right, hold on now. Let me keep going.
In fact, you will not find any colonial documentation that would use the term slave ship to describe their passenger ships, cargo ships, merchant vessels, or warships. This means that these stories of slave ships are contradicting themselves.
I gotta stop right here. I think I did an Easter egg Sunday on this image right here. I think I did. But, okay. I just gotta say something about this image, y'all. Where the white man at? Let's start right there. Where the white man at? Somebody. Anybody. Where's the white man? It's a little boy that's coming down with a man that look like he well dressed. Both of them actually. Okay, they portrayed him as a so-called black man. He got on white gloves. What does that mean? Oh yeah, I think I did do an Easter egg Sunday on this because I told you what that meant. That was symbolism, and I gave you the example of like when you go to church, for example, and the ushers will wear white gloves, passing around an offering plate. Make the connection. What's her name? Queen Elizabeth. Don't she wear gloves? What color are they? Huh? So, who in charge right here in this picture? Hey, YouTube telling me something wrong with my signal. Yep, Michael Jackson wore white gloves. we gonna talk about this right now. Why not? Why not? So just okay. Just imagine that. So was he of European royalty? Was he of European royalty? Were the Europeans of color? This could go so many ways. I told you about Christopher Columbus anyway. I will soon again. But that just stuck out like a sore thumb. And when you slow it down and pause it and really look at it and really critically think for a minute now. Give yourself some time with images like this that they feeding you. Look at these so-called slaves chained up like that on top of each other. How is that even realistic? And these fresh and clean people coming down the steps, what, to monitor them? Or what are they doing? Are we going to assume that they are the supervisors? They got to be in on it some way if they working for whoever they working for, or you tell me. And see, that's how the story of slavery is wide open with a lot of gaps for that reason. They want you to, so in most cases, they want you to create your own assumption of how things went, but they just give you the skeletal line or version of the story. Once again, it goes right back to your imagination. They want you to utilize your imagination with these depictions to assist your imagination with creating the portrait, the picture in your mind. This is about control right here. It's about control. Let's keep it moving.
Because these ships were actually wooden sailboats that did not include utilitarian motors as a convenience. These motorless sailboats were originally known as rowboats that were called skiffs, dories, and wherries that were chiefly propelled by the use of sails and oars for navigating the boat even through tumultuous seas, violent winds, and unexpected climate changes. Between the 1500s and the 1800s, these rowboats were used for many things, like trading goods, or for the transportation of goods, exploration, pirateering, and of course, immigration. But just not those stories of immigration that most of you are accustomed to hearing about. And here's what I mean by that.
Look at this. Hold on, bro. Woo! Look at this image, y'all. Now, we would consider all these white folk. But the reason why I said it that way is because realistically, they could be different parts. They could be from different parts of Europe or even Africa and just pale skin. Now, they on a ship and it looked like they ain't even had room to stand on a deck. And, I mean, what we gonna say? It is 60, 70, 80? 1900s? Keep in mind, the census started in the year of 1790. I mean, even when it first started, it told you that the so-called free whites or they had free whites 16 and older than free whites 16 and under. There wasn't that many of them. You didn't see large masses come until they had boats, like ships like this, which you're seeing probably, this may be even a steamboat. So the steamboat era. Now I know if you get to Googling, they're going to tell you that the first steamboat that was commercially used was only, I think it was 1807 or something like that. Now listen to me now, but it was only 3 people that were able to afford to build steamboats in 1807. And when you further research on, you're going to notice that didn't happen. I'm talking about commercially on a larger scale where it was more than 3 people who owned 3 steamboats. Listen to that. It came later on, 1850s, 1860s, basically the late 1800s is when they really started commercializing the use of steamboats. Now, once again, I want you guys to understand that prior to any of that, there were no motors on these ships. That's why they can't be called ships. They were boats. And I just told you, wherries, rowboats, row your boat. Come on, guys. That's not hard, but it's almost like people forgot how it went. And you think you about to fit people on those boats? According to the History Channel and a whole rack of other sources, their numbers that they originally used was 12.5 million enslaved Africans were brought to the Americas. I can stand here and confidently say that's impossible. They said they brought 12.5 between the 1600s and the 1800s. They're a lie. These white folks ain't start coming here till the time period of this picture, late 1800s. So what mass army did they have? Prior to that. Huh? Now, all, they tell you about all these wars. And you know how they show you movies and war movies and show you how it was all white folks when it wasn't that really, truthfully speaking now, wasn't that many of them. So what that mean, Dane? That means that your people was fighting their own people. That's what that mean. Prove me wrong. I dare you. I dare you. There wasn't that many white folks in these wars. Because there wasn't that many white folks here. But here they go. Hold on, before I go any further, here they go. Here go the Africans right here. Here they go. Arriving. Africans, Europeans, whatever one you want to use, here they go. Right here. So we got images of them coming. But they got to paint pictures and engravings and watercolor pictures of you being captured from Africa. Like, come on. Who was the leader? Who started that? Who did it? Name some people. What war took place in Africa in order for that to happen? In order for white folks to come over there to capture Africans out the blue? What you think they was in the... Oh, let's think about this for now. Let's think about this for a second. Foreign land. Let's just say that these so-called pale faces started in Europe. Let's just say that, okay? Because I know a lot of people can twist it many different ways. But let's just say that, for example. Now, they coming over to Africa, a landmass that they're not used to, meaning that they're not accustomed with it. They don't know how people roll. They don't know any of that. So they sent explorers, AKA spies, informants, to go mingle with them, the people that the native or indigenous people of that landmass in Africa, to be nosy and to report it back to somebody. Christopher Columbus. But hold on, wait a minute now. It was more than just Christopher Columbus that was explorers, informants, spies. So put two and two together. Would they be sending pale faces to go look at some people of color? Or would they be sending so-called people of color to go look at so-called people of color? Because if you see a pale face just standing there looking at you, complete stranger, what you gonna do? What you gonna do right now? If you walk out in your backyard and you see a complete stranger, no matter their skin complexion, what you gonna do? You gonna stand there and, oh, hey, what you gonna do? Come on, stop playing. Like this ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. You gonna go get them. So you gonna act like that these Africans couldn't take care of themselves against what, one person? Or did they send an army? Because there wasn't that many of them, so you know they didn't send no army. What army? And how come that's not documented? And how come these Africans that's coming over here ain't repeating the same stories? That's another problem. They tell you about immigration, yeah, they do. But they tell you about another part of Africa, African people moving from Africa to another part of Africa. That's it. That's immigration with an E, not immigration with an I. Two differences. You moving within the same landmass. That's what happened to our ancestors. We were moving throughout the same landmass. Did the Indian Removal Act force those people to go to Africa? Or over there in California, or on the West? Pick one. You forced them to go to a different continent, or you forced them to go to the opposite side? Think. That's what this is about. And you showing, and here go the white folks right here. And we can't get a picture that look like this about to match their story. Let's say it that way. To match their story about the transatlantic slave trade, aka the Middle Passage. God. I gotta figure out how to fix that. It's a Canon 90D, if somebody know. I don't know how to take that automatic thing off. If you do, hit me on Instagram or Twitter, because I don't. I tried what I could, but that auto stuff, I have it disabled, but it's still doing it. I don't know why it's doing that. Yeah, so let me move on, because see that, let me move on.
Just imagine a school of people cramming themselves onto a boat today, trying drastically to avoid what's known as immigration laws, packing themselves in the trunks of vehicles, and even small cave-like holes underneath the ground, doing whatever it takes to travel to America, due to their belief that America is the land of plenty, with new beginnings for themselves and their families, opportunities for employment and affordable housing, all while risking their lives in hopes of gaining freedom. This should all ring a bell here and make you wonder if people were willing or unwilling to aboard these rowboats or cargo passenger ships in the first place. Or maybe the question should be, were people forced into slavery, or was slavery simply done by choice? Now, before I go any further, I want you to note again that during the 1600s and until the near end of the 1800s, rowboats or cargo ships were not modernized to include engines or motors that would conveniently drive the boat throughout the seas. The commercial production of steamboats or riverboats were made available at the tail end of the 1800s as well, which should make you wonder, how many so-called slave ships were accounted for that enabled strangers to carry a whopping 12.5 million people, along with supplies, food, and other cargo from one continent to another? And if there were no motors or engines attached to these slave ships, then some company or fictionalized character would have been created and placed up for public display by now in order to showcase how an impossible task of dragging millions of people out of their native lands and forcing them to work on some distant land is somehow a reality, and it actually happened. But I guess since slavery was so bad that it's no need to prove that these slave ships actually existed, right?
See there?
Now, let's take things a step further. As you may know, this type of travel was extremely perilous during the time periods prior to any advanced technologies, allowing for more pernicious routes to be taken. Merchants or sailors traveling across the Atlantic using sailboats had no choice but to take specific routes based on the Volta do Mar Largo, which is a Portuguese phrase meaning turn of the wide sea. This Volta do Mar Largo phrase refers to the oceanic rotation that signifies the ocean's currents, which is why we are taught that the sea is divided into 5 oceans. These 5 oceans are also called ocean gyres, in which each of these gyres represents a different ocean current rotation. Listen closely.
Tutu. Okay. Shout out to my wife. She assisted on this research as well, right here. Now, let me explain this one, guys. This is major. This is major, and I'm sure it went over a lot of people's heads. Okay. These ocean gyres are still in effect right now. Okay. Meaning, okay, the example I like this example that my wife used. She said, imagine when you going on like a cruise ship. For example, when you're going on a cruise ship, you know, you're traveling on a cruise ship and you're going to, you know, you're going from Southwest DC, for example, and you're taking a trip to, let's just say, let's pick one right here. You're going somewhere in down South America. You're going to Brazil. You're going to Brazil, right? Number one, the routes that they have to take are so important that you have to understand. You cannot go into that Atlantic without having trouble of wreckage, or you'll be lost at sea. The reason why is due to the current rotation, meaning the water's rotation, how the current flows. You have to hug the coast to get to where you're trying to get to, but it's not always going to be feasible for you to be going like from here to Africa. Like, the reason why I'm saying that is because you have to go from here to so many other areas before you make it to Africa. Okay. Now, and that's still to this very day, by the way. And the reason why is due to how it goes. Like, if you notice on this picture right here, on this image, it shows you North America, right? But notice the circular pattern with the arrows going this direction. That also means that you cannot go the opposite direction, okay? Closer to this gyre. If you do, you'll be lost at sea. So that's why you notice that those cruise ships, to go back to my wife's example, would never be out in the water like that. They'll be closer to the land, or like if you go to the beach. I think she even stated that when you go to the beach, notice you'll sometimes you'll catch them if you're out there on time, where the cruise ship would just hug the beach and keep going, and you wave at the people while you on the beach and they on the cruise ship, and because they're not supposed, they're going to be, if you take a chance to go out there in that water for real, you're in trouble. And you think that, and nowadays, they got GPS and, to keep them on track. Now we talking 1800s now, y'all. See, this is another thing that you have to have into account, because they could get lost in these gyres. Let's just say it that way, because ain't no telling what's going to happen in the middle. And, Ain't no telling. Now, if that's the case, this is realistic, guys, on top of that. Okay, this is realistic. This is how it goes. This is the South Atlantic Gyre down here beside South America. Now, I know this is the Wikipedia world map. We're just going to use this for right now because this is the maps that they're feeding to you. But you can also utilize the information against them because it also contradicts. It contradicts itself each time. That's impossible for you to travel across North America to Africa. You know, they want to claim this area is Africa. I hope you see my mouse. But you can't go straight across with that Gyre being right there. That's impossible. So the route that you took, in certain cases, you're going to also hear, this is a good time to drop this right now. You're going to also hear that they captured so-called enslaved Africans from the west coast of Africa and traveled to South America. The majority of them, that's what they would say. But the biggest area on the Mercator world map is Brazil. So, and how can I word this? Because it's a few things here that they were trying to tell you. Number one, the immigration of the albino people, the albions, the albino people from Africa went directly to Brazil. Some went to Russia, some went to Brazil. Now, some of you, or maybe the majority, would consider them white folks. That's just one example, okay? Now, we know for sure that they weren't bringing millions of them, okay? Let's say that they brought some that they could fit on the ships by the time they started creating actual huge-sized ships that had motors in them. But by that time, the transatlantic slave trade was allegedly out the door. So that, once again, doesn't add up, meaning that it was almost about to end by the time they got motors involved. Doesn't add up. Now, if they took some from Africa, let's just say it was like 30,000 of them. For example, I'm just saying as an example. Let's just say that they took 30,000 of them from a particular time period, not all at one trip, from a particular time period. Pick one in between the 16 and 1800s, right? Let's just say 30,000. Now, can that 30,000 populate all of South America? No. Not at all. And the reason why I'm saying that is because that same 30,000 wouldn't be able to populate all of North America. What are you getting at, Dane? We were already here. That's what I'm getting at. If you only brought bits and pieces of a population, that doesn't mean a whole population is going to be in the 50s and the 60 millions in 200 years. Keep that in mind, not 400 years, 200 years. Don't forget this. And then on top of that, the way they had to travel, the routes that they had to take, yeah, they couldn't just go straight across. That was impossible. So any story, anyone, and I mean that, any story, even if it's a good book, it got a good cover, you might have some attachment to it religiously, a whole bunch of them stories is a lie, man. Just due to this point right here. And that's just the start of it. You can't go across that Atlantic without trouble. You're going to have trouble. Remember, they said that Christopher Columbus lost how many ships? How did he lose them? Oh, you going to see Christopher Columbus hiding in some woods and he going to capture some children and run away. They coming after him. Did his ship wreck because they caught his ass? But no, hold on, wait a minute. You would think they would, but they said that Christopher Columbus came again. So let's back up. Let's back up a second. They said Christopher Columbus landed somewhere that he was not used to. That's number one. He wasn't supposed to be landing in the islands surrounding Haiti. He wasn't supposed to be over there. So that means that he didn't know where he was going. He was looking for some form of promised land. He was looking for something, right? That he was supposed to report back to Queen Isabel. That's number one. Number two, think about this now. If he landed in Haiti, somewhere, let's just say somewhere in Haiti, that's what it was. It was within that same area, within that same landmass. He landed there, right? Lost, okay? How was he able to capture somebody and find his way back to Moolah, Spain? It wasn't Italy. He's not an Italian. It's Moolah, Spain. It's still called Moolah, Spain today, if he existed. So all of a sudden he lost, and he gonna know his way home now? Did he have some help? Who was the help? If he had help, who was the help? He did come back, allegedly, to the story with this, you know, the story that they're giving us, and he came back with Iberians. Near those people that were near the Iberian Peninsula and places like Mauritania, Tunis, Algiers, Morocco. That's who he came back with. The ones that some of you may call Moors nowadays. That's who Christopher Columbus came back with. So he had help. This is according to the story. And you know, even a Moor is a navigator of the sea. Even a Moor anchors a boat. Hold it steady while in the sea, while floating on the water. The anchors. Okay, so he had help. So why are you calling him the explorer? Oh, okay. Think they ain't lie about everything? You got another thing coming here. And then I want you to tell me the route that he took. I dare anybody. I dare anybody to tell me what routes were taken for this transatlantic slave trade prior to any ships being accompanied by motors, engines. The steamboats was running off of coal. So were the engines at one point. So I'm talking about prior to any of that. How? You and unwillingly, on top of that, keep in mind, unwillingly. That's what they claim. Now, to me, I think I go back. I hope I do go back in that picture. I do, right? Let me make sure, because I want to bring a point up. Okay. All right, so let me go back then, because apparently I did. I thought I put that picture in there one more time. Not that one. Not that one. Where is it at? It's this one. Okay. Is my mic on? Yeah. Okay. So let's just look at this image for a second. Let's analyze this depiction of some form of slavery allegedly supposed to be happening. And this is a depiction, okay? You could probably Google this, it'll pop right up. Now let's look at this for example. So you got all of these slaves right here, right? Allegedly, I mean, according to how they dressed, because this guy's fully clothed, so is he. And this guy right here is fully clothed. Now, according to him, according to how it's colored, he looks like a white man. He look like a white man. I would say Arabic, something like that. But that's 1, 2, 3. And all of and look, and it's not like they got chains on what they doing. If you look at it, it look like they're drawing up the sail. They drawing up the sail. So you mean to tell me they helping their master out? Or are they helping their friend out that's on lookout right now? Watching to make sure, hey man, look, we about to get away, y'all. Come on, y'all. We going to freedom. We going to the promised land. Listen. Look at this. The white guy in the water pulling on the sail as well. They trying to draw it up. This guy overlooking. I mean, he got on some type of headdress right here. I hope you see my mouse. He got on a headdress. And they drawing up this sail. And he overlooking. There go another boat in behind them in the way. Look like this guy right here giving them direction. You pull it up, guys. Pull it up. And he over here. Yeah, let's go. Pull. Pull. Does it look like this is slavery to you? Or look like they assisting each other? Huh? No chains, no shackles on them. Like we could tell by these two people right here. No chains, no shackles. He free. He can hop out in the water and get away. What he gonna do? Throw his only weapon into the water to go get this guy? What if he miss him? What other weapon he gonna have? Okay, he got a sword right here. But one sword, okay, one swing could probably knock down 3 of these people, but all of these people can gang up on this one person. And somebody try to, I'm just saying, how can this make sense? They helping each other. That's what they doing. They helping each other. I mean, if you just think about this now, if you, okay, say for instance, God forbid something happened to America, right? What if a neighbor of yours that just so happened to be white got a boat? Like, I'm just saying, as an example, got a boat. And y'all trying to get the F up out of America because something going on, God forbid, right? You not gonna get on that boat and roll out? Hey man, look, hey, we got food, we got drinks. You gonna be good, man. The trip is this long. We gotta go somewhere else. We going. I don't know. It's probably gonna take us a lot, but I got everything that we need. We just can't have a lot of people on here because we got to keep the amount of resources that'll keep us up for the, amount of whatever length it is for us to travel wherever they're going. Are you going to stay in America and let whatever happen in America happen? Like, forget it. All right, okay. And then, that's it. All right, fine. All right. But the guy offered you a ride. That's a form of friendship, form of something. You can say yes or no. The reason why I'm saying that is because you can tell that a lot of people said no. Those that said yes on the boat. And how come they not up under it? Uh-oh. How come they on top? Like how we saw in that other picture. They on the deck. I set that clean up, didn't I? I set that clean up. Because they on the deck. Like, I mean, please explain that. I thought you was in the bottom. Chained up. What happened? Why you on the top on the deck throwing up the sail? Huh? You got this many supervisors? Logical thinking. This is not Dane Calloway making this up. This is logical thinking. This is critical thinking. This is what this is. See, in some cases, you don't get taught that in school because, of course, they want to keep you indoctrinated. They want you to subscribe to their ideology without question, meaning uncritically. You can't give any feedback on that. And then teacher, I got a question. No, hold your question to the end of the lesson. Hold on, Dane. I know you want to say something. Hold on, but let me finish what I got to teach. See? They don't want you to ask no questions, so they know it's bull crap. Come on, mouse.
Which is a Portuguese phrase meaning turn of the wide sea. This volta do mar largo phrase refers to the oceanic rotation that signifies the ocean's currents, which is why we are taught that the sea is divided into 5 oceans. These 5 oceans are also called ocean gyres, in which each of these gyres represents a different ocean current rotation. Listen closely. According to the National Geographic, the North Atlantic Gyre begins with the northward flow of the Gulf Stream along the east coast of the United States. The Gulf Stream is the western boundary current of the Gyre. The Gyre then becomes the North Atlantic Current, which flows across the North Atlantic to Europe. Still flowing in a circular pattern, the current flows south as far as northwestern coast of Africa, where it is known as the Canary Current, the Gyre's eastern boundary current.
So let's just think about that for a second. Now, hold on. Let me come back a tad bit. So they basically telling you, the National Geographic is telling you, in fact, that's where I got these images from, the National Geographic. Because they're describing what you're seeing, right? So they basically telling you how far down that Gyre is going. North Atlantic, okay, northward flow of the Gulf Stream. So it got all the Gulf along the east coast of the United States. The Gulf Stream is the western boundary current of that same Gyre, though, okay? Then it becomes the North Atlantic Current, which flows across the Atlantic to Europe. Still flowing in a circular pattern, the current flows south as far as the northwestern coast of Africa. So that's pretty big. So you know you're not going to go straight across, period. That's out. That's out. That's out. Anybody telling you them stories? Their credibility out the window.
To Europe. Still flowing in a circular pattern, the current flows south as far as northwestern coast of Africa, where it is known as the Canary Current, the Gyre's eastern boundary current. The Gyre is completed as the North Atlantic Equatorial Current crosses the Atlantic Ocean to the Caribbean Sea. This entire circle and the water within it is the North Atlantic Gyre. End quote. As I've stated numerous times before, this means that only the winds and the currents of the ocean could determine how a boat or a ship was able to travel across the Atlantic, revealing the true reason why explorers initially sailed to South America instead of North America first. Also, the winds and the climate made trading and traveling across the ocean very time-consuming, resulting in slowly paced travels that will require several weeks and even months to reach a single destination, yet alone a round trip, all while hoping that the captain sailor has the ability to stay on course.
Wow.
And by the way, this also exposes that these ships were not able to literally travel straight across from one continent to another, due merely to the ocean's current, which can be compared to a game of double dutch, since inexperienced and even senior sailors had to jump in these gyres at the right times or they would lose. They were also limited to just having a compass for direction and the use of their hands to tell time, or rather how much daylight was left, by aligning their fingers with the horizon. All of this sounds difficult, doesn't it? According to the Royal Museums of Greenwich, life at sea during the Age of Sail was filled with hardship. Sailors had to accept cramped conditions, disease, poor food and pay, and bad weather. So, if the sailors had to endure famine for weeks and even months, no pay and no work, sicknesses and diseases, treacherous weather climates, and even cramped living conditions, then how would anyone be able to control, feed, and successfully keep alive hundreds to thousands of so-called slaves that were allegedly captured from Africa and packed like sardines below the deck of their sailboats? Many people died for attempting this voyage, making it extremely difficult to even keep the same crew for more than one seafaring trip across the Atlantic. So in hopes of immediately providing a safer passage by learning the hard way, capacity stipulations were forced on the sizes of cargo and the passengers aboard. But these treacherous conditions continued to plague the foreigners for centuries, making it unrealistic to transport millions of so-called slaves from one continent to another between the early 1600s to the late 1800s across the Atlantic. This is why you would not find any historical evidence nor colonial documentation of a transatlantic slave trade during this time period. That task would be simply impossible for anyone to accomplish, especially the way that we were taught how the story goes.
Now, what I'm about to get into in this portion is breaking it down. Where did that come from? Like, as far as, okay, now I think, no. In this video, I'm breaking down the terms. And there was another video, I'm gonna have to bring that up too. There's another video that YouTube didn't like, that I explained where this story came from. And that was my third time putting it up. I'm still gonna try to put it up again. It's still there, by the way, it's just hidden. But yeah. I'm gonna go over that again, where I'm telling you where it came from directly. Oh, 1 second. Man, I need to find out how to fix that. Am I back? Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So let me go.
So, what is a slave ship? And what can be logically concluded by critical thinking as to what was originally meant by the use of this term? First, the origin of the term slave ship allegedly traces back to the English noun slaver, which made a public appearance in the dictionary entitled Walker and Webster Combined in the Dictionary of the English Language, which was published in the year of 1877. However, what's important to note is that the term slaver was defined during this time period as saliva running from the mouth.
Hold up, Tracy, boats only have a capacity level, that's cap. Cargo ships also. All ships, everything, even an auditorium room has a capacity limit. Like when you go to an event for some musical artists, they have a capacity limit. Hold on 1 second, hon. One of our dogs are upstairs. And trying to get in. But yeah, they all have a capacity limit. They all have a capacity limit, not just the boats, but yeah, definitely the ships as well. Even the steamships or the steamboats, all of them.
In the Dictionary of the English Language, which was published in the year of 1877. However, what's important to note is that the term slaver was defined during this time period as saliva running from the mouth, and the closest word that had derogatory meaning of this kind in regards to the word slaver was the term slaverer, which was defined as an idiot during this time period, interesting enough. Second, the definition of the term slave ship was never historically documented before. In fact, the word was just recently created and made its way into school curriculums and books well over 100 years later, around the mid-1980s. Did you know that you would not find the term slave ship in any English dictionary prior to the 1980s?
I dare you to prove me wrong. I double dare you. I triple dare you. Prove me wrong. That there was a definition for slave ship prior to the 1980s. 1980s. I dare you. Prior to the 1980s, I dare you. And look, and think it. And honestly, I'm smiling. I gotta laugh. I gotta throw it off a little bit because I can get upset. And I do. And I do get upset with stuff like that, man. Because I see people falling for it without questioning it. You gotta question its accuracy or validity. You have to. That should be automatic. If you don't do that, you just falling right for it. No problem.
Which forces an individual to define this non-existing term by complete speculation surrounding the two words that it is comprised of, slave and ship. In the year 1828, the word slave was defined as one who has lost the power of resistance, or who surrenders himself to any power, whatever. A mean person, one in the lowest state of life. And the word ship derives from the Latin word scapha and the Saxon word sapien, which means to create form or build. Whatever. A mean person, one in the lowest state of life.
Mean person meaning poor. One who has lost the power of resistance. You gave up. Or who surrenders himself to any power, whatever. Who in control right now are you? The answer you should be saying is yourself. But, you know, a mean person, a poor person, one in the lowest state of life. This ain't got nothing to do with kidnapping. It's all about your mind right here. That's why slavery still exists. It's your mindset. One who has lost the power of resistance. So if you're not fighting for yourself, you think somebody else will? That goes back to a lot of people's religious beliefs. Waiting on somebody to fight their battles for themselves. Surrender himself to any power, whatever. A poor person, one in the lowest state of life. Hello? Hello. You see what I'm saying? See, and once again, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not here to separate the people at all. I'm not for that. I'm not for anything that's against our people. If you are against our people, see yourself to the door. I'm not against religious people neither. If you're religious, that's not what this is about. It's not about what your belief is. It's about what you know. It's not about what you believe. It's about what you know. That's what they attacked. They attacked the mindset. That's what a slave is. One who has lost the power of resistance. Your own power. Not God's power, your own power of resistance. Listen to that now. And then you surrendering yourself to somebody else, not just the government. Not just the government. A poor person, one in the lowest state of life. Now, some of y'all got comfortable with surrendering yourself to somebody else unforeseen. So, you fine with being a slave. All right, moving right along. We ain't gonna stay too long on that. I know how some people get.
And the word ship derives from the Latin word scapha and the Saxon word sapien, which means to create form or build. And so over time, the perception of this depiction of a slave ship is based on a particular portrayal in picture and representation in words, which has been clouded by the idea of conceptualism, deriving from the basis of conceptual art.
Please
According
listen
to the College of Central Florida, conceptual art is based on the notion that the essence of art is an idea or concept and may exist distant from and in the absence of an object as its representation.
Woo! I'm glad. I'm saying thank you, chat. Y'all deserve a clap. That's one time I got caught with my with my mic on mute. Thank you, chat. I appreciate that. Let me make sure I'm back because I just said something. I'm gonna go over it again. Y'all can hear me, right? Sound working now. Okay, even my wife was like, no sound. So, okay, I'm back. Okay. I stopped right here because I said I wanted to repeat that. I wanted to say this again. Conceptual art, and I want you to see this. Conceptual art is based on the notion that the essence of art is back. The essence of art is an idea or concept. So it's an idea or concept, and that idea or concept is may exist distant from, and this is two things, may exist distant from, and in the absence of an object as its representation. So once again, you're using your imagination. You got to craft that picture into your mind based on a concept and idea. No matter if you're familiar with it or not. Doesn't matter. That's what the intent of this art form is about. Let me go back a little bit. I'm gonna say it again.
By the idea of conceptualism, deriving from the basis of conceptual art. According to the College of Central Florida, conceptual art is based on the notion that the essence of art is an idea or concept and may exist distant from and in the absence of an object as its representation.
That's because what?
That is because the job of the mind is to create an object where there is none. It goes on to state that conceptualism began in the first half of the 20th century, not as an artistic movement, but as a philosophy, a questioning of what was taken for granted. In the year 1926, a film entitled Anemic Cinema was created by painter, sculptor, philosopher, and filmmaker Henry Robert Marcel Duchamp, who was an immigrant from France that eventually migrated to the United States. Duchamp is well known in the arts as a conceptualist, being as though he was famous for creating the term ready-mades. In a 1975 article in reference to Duchamp's film and his works in regards to conceptualism, author Katrina Martin of Studio International wrote that Duchamp's ready-mades can be simply defined as, quote, an object which has been taken out of context, which is in any way conventional and placed into a new and strange one, whereby the function of the object chosen changes radically. So in other words, the idea of a slave ship was meant to create a visual and a written concept so that a person's mind could conceive a totally different picture of what was being stated, represented, or displayed. So, a person's mind would radically imagine changed portraits or visions altogether of what a slave ship could be, mentally, based solely on allowing our minds to combine the definitions of a slave and ship inadvertently. Now, if you combine the definition of ship alongside the definition of slave without the use of conceptualism, then we can determine that the term ship was used as a suffix in this sense, being as though it was added to the end of the word slave in order to strictly create a relationship between these two words.
Okay. That's what it was about. To make it seem as if these two words actually existed as being one, or being one term. A combination of two words to create one. They strictly developed that. They developed a relationship for that term. They developed the coming together of that term. So there is another one. Hun, let me know if you think I should get into that now or save that for another time. Let me know by text, because I do want to ask people if they have questions, if a statement, something, because that's just a piece of it. Once again, I've been on this topic for quite some time, talking about the transatlantic slave trade and how the slave trade story in general, one, was told to us in reverse. Two, a lot of it was not true. Like, it doesn't have any backing. It doesn't have any form of primary sources to back it up. Okay, all you do is have books from specific authors and mysterious writers of some of American history inside of American history studies and compulsory educational institutions. That's all. That's it. So that means that somebody developed this curriculum in order for you to learn and be indoctrinated with it, so it could stick with you as you get an adult, so that story can be passed on to the next generations of your family without you wanting to go see for yourself what the records show of your individual family, versus you sending your data off to a stranger just because they can find out who your mother and your father is. Just because they can find out who your mother and your father is, all the way up to your grandmother, and then it gets limited, because if your sibling that they're trying to connect you to is dead, they got to dig up that person's grave to see if you're related. Otherwise, it stops right there. So when they talk about genealogy DNA testing, and they can't dig up your ancestors' graves, not just some other people, your ancestors' graves, and some verification, meaning documentation backing that up, saying that this person is related to you, then they just giving you jibber jabber, conjecture. And then they just feeding it to you and charging an arm and a leg, and you giving it validation and credibility by you turning around and saying, look, oh, y'all, I'm African due to this piece of paper. Just like you going to high school or college, and what you get when you graduate, you get another piece of paper. To what degree have you been indoctrinated? That's what that degree means. Which level of indoctrination are you accustomed with? See? That's what that's about. And now people falling for it, and they still want these changes, and we letting the same crap happen over and over. But you want some changes, and you preaching the gospel, and you turn, and what I mean by that is, you talking about something, we went through 400 years of slavery, and you can't verify nothing. What I just said earlier ain't got nothing to do with religion. Don't take it the wrong way. When I mean by preaching the gospel, I'm talking about you preaching the same thing over and over and over. These same stories. They holding it up as a gospel. And you letting it happen. You keep falling for it. When we gonna change it? Dane, but you can make I'm doing my part right now. I'm doing my part right now. I'm doing it exactly what my ancestors told me to do. I'm not being disobedient. I'm not with no cult. I'm not with no organization, no corporation. I'm not with nobody. But my family and myself and my ancestors, my army of ancestors. Don't get it twisted. But nah. I'm here for the liberation of our people, the embetterment of our people. And there's only one way to do that. Number one, we got to take control over our mindsets, because everything else gonna fall if we letting somebody else control it for us. So it don't matter what type of plan you try to come up with, it ain't gonna work unless you got your own in control of your own mindset. You gotta have it working for yourself first. Don't try to be relying on some celebrity or somebody on the come up. You know, they talking like they're activists, and they talking real good and saying a whole bunch of big words, and they getting on Fox 5 and CNN, and so what? And what's that gonna change? Because we done seen these same people before. What did Jesse Jackson do? Huh? No, it's gonna change when we get a black president in. What Obama do? Huh? No, it's gonna change when we get some so-called black people in Congress and we did, well, when we did it before on a larger scale, it worked. But somebody claimed a Great Depression. I hit the mic. Somebody claimed a Great Depression after that. And that's where we made a mistake. And in fact, I am going to be going into that soon with Sister Bethy, and I'm probably going to bring a couple other people on the panel with me. We're going to be talking about that. That's the key right there. Well, let's go back to, it's not even about going back to that, but it's about, let's go back to to see where the mistake happened. Go back to that particular time period between the late 1860s and all the way up into when Woodrow Wilson got in there, top of 1900s. Okay. But we will be getting into that. In fact, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm no longer gonna announce, guys, when I'm going live, because I saw, and I didn't want to say anything, I saw them messing with my stuff. Okay. And you know, it is what it is. I'm here. I'm thankful that I'm here. I'm thankful for your support. I'm thankful for everybody that came to watch, you know, to share the content, to subscribe to my channel, that definitely supports me in any way that they can, whether it be a donation or a Patreon monthly donation. That honestly, that helps a lot. That helps a lot, especially when I'm back on this road and I'm doing this traveling and putting that up, and I'm putting it up on screen each and every time, no matter who get mad or who claim what, and oh, they got this video, and oh, this person that, who cares? I'm putting out this information regardless of who don't like it or not. If you claim you from Africa, okay, go prove it to yourself then. Make sure your grandmother's saying the same thing here. Because if your grandmother's saying something different, there's something wrong with you. You need to take a look in the mirror. See, and I ain't got time to be playing some childish games, going back and forth doing that. For what? I can, yeah. Of course it'll make my channel get super high, because then it will become a drama channel. All I'm doing is talking about drama. Nah, I'm not for that. This is for education, guys. This is to stop the crap that's happening to us, that's holding us up. They didn't put the chains and shackles on our ankles and or hands and feet, rather. They didn't do it like that. They put it on our brains. I'm here to break those chains off. No matter who like it or not. I don't care. And I'm here to do something about it. So let's stop playing and do something about it. But once again, guys, I appreciate that. Once again, I'm not going to announce the next time, but just get ready, because it could pop up just like this. Those of you that are watching the restream of it, or however it gets posted, I forgot. I'm basically the replay of it. I appreciate you watching it again. And of course, my documentaries are going to go in a lot more detail. I just wanted to explain it with me on screen. And I'm going to be doing that more often. Oh, and my camera's going dead. Look at this. Look at how it worked. You know I'm doing something right. Look at this. So let me get up out of here. I appreciate that. OCR everybody that came out, and Wado to the family. I'm just here to make you think.